How did a small, scattered group of nomadic tribes from the harsh steppes of Central Asia create the largest, contiguous land empire the world has ever seen? It's a story of ambition, innovation, and a leader whose name still echoes through history, Genghis Khan. But this isn't just a tale of conquest. It's the story of how the Mongols reshaped the world, connecting east and west like never before. Get ready, because we're about to ride across continents and centuries to uncover the secrets of the mighty Mongol Empire. Before he was the great Khan, he was a boy named Temujin, born into a world of constant tribal warfare. His early life was brutal. His father was poisoned, his family was abandoned, and he was captured and enslaved. But these hardships didn't break him, they forged him. Temujin learned the harsh realities of power, loyalty, and survival. Through sheer will and strategic genius, he began to unite the warring Mongol tribes under a single banner. He didn't just defeat his rivals, he assimilated them, rewarded loyalty above all else, even above noble birth. This was revolutionary. He created a meritocracy on the steppes, a society where the best and most loyal rose to the top, regardless of their origins. By 1206, Temujin had accomplished the impossible. He was declared Genghis Khan, the universal ruler of all Mongols. But unification was just the beginning. With his people united, he turned his sights outward. Why? Some historians point to a changing climate that made pastoral life on the steppes more difficult, forcing the Mongols to seek resources elsewhere. Others see it as a mission to bring the entire world under the eternal blue sky of the Mongol god, Tengri. Whatever the reason, what happened next was a military marvel. The Mongol army was unlike any other. Every man was a superb horseman and archer, trained from childhood. They could ride for days, sleeping in the saddle and drinking mare's milk. Their tactics were a terrifying blend of speed, coordination, and psychological warfare. Imagine tens of thousands of horsemen appearing on the horizon like a storm cloud. They would use feigned retreats to lure their enemies into traps, then turn and unleash a devastating hail of arrows. Their composite bows could pierce armor from a distance, and they used a sophisticated system of signal flags and drums to coordinate complex maneuvers on the battlefield. They were also master siege engineers, adopting and perfecting technologies from the peoples they conquered. Catapults, battering rams, and even early gunpowder weapons became part of their arsenal. This combination of nomadic mobility and settled technology made them an almost unstoppable force. They swept through northern China, razing cities that resisted but often sparing those that surrendered peacefully. They then turned west, crushing the powerful Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia in a campaign of breathtaking speed and brutality. The message was clear: submit or be destroyed. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, the empire didn't crumble. In fact, it expanded. His sons and grandsons continued the conquests, driven by the same ambition. Under his son Genghis Khan, the Mongol capital of Karakorum was established, turning from a nomadic camp into a cosmopolitan city. The Mongol hordes pushed further into Europe, reaching the gates of Vienna in a campaign that sent shockwaves across Christendom. They conquered Russia, establishing the rule of the Golden Horde for over 2 centuries. In the Middle East, Genghis's grandson, Hulagu Khan, sacked the legendary city of Baghdad in 1258, ending the Islamic Golden Age. Another grandson, Kublai Khan, completed the conquest of China, establishing the Yuan dynasty and becoming its first emperor. At its peak, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe, covering a staggering 22% of the Earth's total land area. It was an empire forged on horseback, an empire of unparalleled scale. But here's the part of the story that often gets overlooked. The Mongol Empire wasn't just about conquest. After the initial shock and devastation, a unique period of peace and stability emerged, known as the Pax Mongolica, or the Mongol Peace. For the first time in history, a single power controlled the vast network of trade routes known as the Silk Road. The Mongols were brilliant administrators. They understood the value of trade and communication. They established a highly efficient postal system called the Yam, a sort of pony express on a continental scale. Riders could carry messages and goods across the empire at incredible speeds, with relay stations providing fresh horses and supplies. This system wasn't just for official business, it was also used by merchants and envoys. Suddenly, it was safer to travel from Europe to China than it had been for centuries. Trade flourished. Silk, spices, and porcelain flowed from east to west, while glass, textiles, and gold traveled from west to east. But it wasn't just goods that were exchanged. It was ideas, technologies, and cultures. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing techniques from China made their way to Europe, where they would eventually spark the Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. Persian astronomy, art, and medicine influenced Chinese scholars. Religions also spread along these protected routes. Nestorian Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists traveled freely, and the Mongols themselves were remarkably tolerant of different faiths. Kublai Khan, for example, welcomed travelers of all religions to his court, including the famous Venetian merchant Marco Polo, whose writings would later inspire European explorers like Christopher Columbus. This period of unprecedented cross-cultural exchange fundamentally changed the world. So, why did this colossal empire eventually fall? Like all great empires, it faced internal and external pressures. The sheer size of the empire made it difficult to govern from a single center. After the death of Genghis Khan in 1259, the empire fractured into four separate khanates: the Yuan dynasty in China, the Golden Horde in Russia, the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, and the Ilkhanate in Persia. While they were still connected by blood and a shared heritage, they often acted as independent states and even fought amongst themselves. In China, the Yuan dynasty faced resentment from the local Han Chinese population. Famines, floods, and rebellions weakened their rule, and in 1368, they were overthrown by the native Ming dynasty. In Persia, the Ilkhanate eventually collapsed due to internal power struggles and the adoption of local customs and religion. The Golden Horde held on longer in Russia, but slowly lost its power to rising Russian principalities like Moscow. The once unstoppable force had been assimilated and fragmented. The legacy of the Mongol Empire is complex and often controversial. For many of the peoples they conquered, their arrival brought unparalleled destruction. Yet, they also created a world system, a bridge between civilizations that had been largely separate. They kickstarted an era of global trade and cultural exchange that laid the groundwork for the modern world. They showed that a small group of determined people could change the course of history. The story of the Mongols is a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of our world, a story of how chaos can lead to connection, and how the echoes of a distant past can still shape our present. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the Mongol Empire. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more incredible stories from history, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which empire you'd like to see us cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.